my favorites. 22. This is a IMG Motley, which usually causes a completely jet black snake. But this snake also has, this little girl, the VPIT positive albino gene in it. What's up, snake fans? Dave Palumbo here for Muscle Serpents Daily. And I want to thank you guys. I got some good feedback over the last couple days from the videos we put up, and trying to show you some cool stuff and educate you at the same time. And sometimes it's hard to come up with original stuff. But I know today a lot of people have said we haven't seen boas for a while. We saw a lot of ball pythons. So today we're going to focus on boas. I'm going to show you some really cool grow-ups I have in my rack. Some of the girls that are maybe just a year away from breeding. Some of the babies that I've had in the rack for 2 years, and now they're putting some size on, and anything else that might kind of strike my fancy. You know, sometimes I just forget about a snake that I have in a rack. I open up the drawer and I'm like, holy mackerel, this thing really kind of changed. It looks really nice. It's gotten better as it's gotten older. Sometimes I say the opposite. Sometimes I say, oh, what happened to this snake? It got terrible. But usually it's the opposite way. Usually I'm surprised, or pleasantly surprised, as I should say. All right, so without further ado, let's go into the snake room and take a look at some cool boas. Little update on the Hypo Mystique that we produced last year. So this is the Hypo gene with one copy of leopard and one copy of onyx. Remember, onyx and leopard are allelic to each other. When you put one copy of each, you get a leopard, super onyxy looking snake. Put the Hypo gene in there, you strip away all the darkness that's in leopard and onyx, and you get this really red looking baby here. Look underneath. Look how red the snake is. Absolutely beautiful. It's also possible het blood and possible het Gilbert positive too. So this is a very powerful genetic combination we have here, and you know, we're growing this female up. This is a dwarf boa. It's never going to get very big, and I just love the way it looks. So these mystiques really came out nice. I might repeat this breeding this year. I'm thinking about it. And then this is the Mystique without the Hypo gene. So one copy of leopard, one copy of onyx. We produced this Mystique, which is the allelic combination of them, or acts like super form. No Hypo gene, so we're going to see a very dark looking snake here. No reds. The reds are under the darkness, but you can't see them because the black pigmentation is covering it. If you put a Hypo gene or two copies of Hypo, a super Hypo combination, you'll see a lot of red. I just showed you the Hypo Mystique before, and you can see you saw how red that snake was. But you can see the highlights. You see the red highlights if you catch it in the right light. Both are really very interesting looking snakes. We're looking at baby grow-ups. Might as well take a look at this one too. This is another, if we're talking about fire diamonds before, this is what we call a pink panther pastel. So it's a pastel, a line bred trait that's also got the fire gene, and it's also got the recessive VPIT positive albino in it. T positive and fire diamond works really well together. You get almost like this has got like a blue-eyed looking snake. The pink panther pastel line also lightens this up quite a bit. You see these widow peak saddles, that's the VPIT positive all day long. Does that, it almost makes it look like a boa constrictor with the widow peak saddles. But you can see there's a lot of like whiteness to the snake, and that's because of that fire diamond combined with the VPIT positive. This little girl is a late 22, so she's going to take a lot of time to grow up, but she's been putting some good size on. I got to tell you, pretty happy with the way she's looking. All right, here's a beautiful Call albino. Beautiful head. Look at that. Look how red that head is. She's 66% het blood and 66% het leopard. I would bet a year's salary on the fact that she's het leopard. That's why she's got that red head. And actually, this is a boy. So this is a male. Been growing him up. We'll try to prove him out at some point. I would bet for sure he's het leopard. The question is he het blood? We would have to, breed him to something and figure that out. I just love the way this guy looks. I mean, I would just use him as maybe a breeder to just breed to like a regular call albino type of, you know, something call, because he's got a lot of good color in him, and I think he would produce really nice albinos. And it's probably because of the het leopard in there. Obviously, I could hedge my bets and breed him to an albino leopard if I wanted to, and make some visual albino leopards and just forget about the blood gene. Or, you know, I have a bunch of females that are triple hets, I guess you can say, for blood, leopard, and blood, leopard, and albino. And probably the best thing would be to try to prove them out, prove this boy out and breed them to them. But we're still about a year off from doing that. This little boy is probably pretty close to breeding ready. He's 2.5 years old. You know, Boas can breed at a year, they say, but I've never seen any really in my collection do the job a year after a year. Usually two years is minimum, 3 years is even better. So they get a lot more mature and they know what to do. Beautiful eye though, look at that eye. Since we're in the boa rack, is one of my favorites, 22. This is a IMG motley, which usually causes a completely jet black snake. But this snake also has this little girl, the VPIT positive albino gene in it. And because of that, we'll never get a completely black snake, but we have a really, really dark chocolatey looking snake. Look at this. This girl is staying here, even though she's young, but I have another litter that I've put up pictures of where I have females that are, you know, pretty close to ready to breed. And I think I have one for sale, because yes, I do, because I have 3 sisters. So anyone who wants to get into this project, it's not going to be cheap, but I promise you, this is a great combo. And here's my bigger girl. This is my IMG Motley VPIT positive female. She's a 21, so she's 2.5 years old. And look how beautiful that snake is. She's obviously not ready to breed this year. She'll go next year, because now she's eating big prey items. And I personally think this is one of the most beautiful combinations in boa breeding. If you like dark, now you know I like white too, so I have, you know, solid white snakes too. But of the dark snakes, IMG Motley VPIT positive, phenomenal. Just the contrast, the way the light reflects off of these guys, it's just so cool, because it's not completely black. Like the black ones are cool, but all the black ones look the same, right? But just the different levels of coloring in there, it's like you can't, no two are the same. That's what I love about it. And this is my VPIT positive IMG without the Motley gene. You can see how much lighter this one is, because the Motley makes it a lot darker. Motley is a dark gene. Combined with IMG, it's usually you get a jet black snake really quickly. If you don't have that Motley and you just do the IMG with the VPIT positive albino line, you get a much less black in there. You get more of a chocolatey looking snake. It's still really cool. So I still really like this combination too, but it's different, you know, for sure. And look at that head. This girl is a 21 also, but she's bigger, because she's was born young, you know, earlier in 2021, and I still don't think she's gonna go this year. I don't know if I would even try her. She's too young. We'll go next year with her, but beautiful. And we'll finish with her today. This is our red dragon. So that's a call albino with the blood gene. And this is a female. We've been growing her up. She's a 21 as well. So I have a bunch of females that are like a year off from breeding age. And one more year. I've been growing up a whole big conglomeration of them. And next year is going to be a big year, I think, for boa breeding. I still have stuff to breed this year, but the new stuff is just not ready yet. These guys are just a little too small, but we should see this girl in the breeding rotation next year. Her brother we bred her brother this past year, and we kind of struck out. But next year, or this year, we might have her brother in the breeding rotation again. Hopefully we'll get some cool stuff. Really, really nice. All right, one more cutie. How can you not show this little baby off. This little boy is a motley blood. So you can see the motley with the circles down the back. The striped tail, that's motley gene all day long. Blood, you can see it has that red tinge. Remember, blood is a dark gene. A lot of people don't realize that. It's very dark. Now, if you have hypobloods, it really lightens it up and you see a lot more red, but regular bloods are dark. So this, and motley is a dark gene. So when you combine motley and blood, you get this really nice rusty, red look to it. The snake, it's also 100% het albino, so it's het red dragon. So we can produce motley red dragons with this little boy down the road. This is a 2022, so he still has another year or so to go. But he's put on some good size, and he's really nice. I'd love to see the motley gene in that red dragon project. So this is our little boy. We're growing him up. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today here at Palumbo's Pythons and Boas. Hope you had a really enjoyable day. Hope your week's going well. And guess what? Pablo will be back next week, thank God. I love Henry, who's working for me, but he doesn't speak a stitch of English for me. We have to use Google Translator. Although I am learning my Spanish, but Pablo has to come back and we have to start feeding. We haven't fed for like 3 weeks. We've been feeding like small stuff, and I feel like I'm going to jip my females that are going into the breeding season. So we're going to heavily feed, I think, for 2 or 3 weeks till December, and then we're going to really start, pairing up our boas. Usually I do my boas earlier, but most people wait till December 1st, and it's really still really warm here. It's like 87 degrees during the day. It gets a little cooler at night now, but so as far as that's concerned, I'll start cooling my boas December 1st, and we'll start pairing them up then. I have a couple that are paired up already, but the majority of them will go on December 1st, and that's, I think, is going to be a better plan of action. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video with all the boas and the updates, and there's some really cool stuff obviously we got on the horizon, and you got to constantly be thinking, what's next year? What's next year? What's next year? Luckily, I produced a lot of good boas this year, so there's going to be a lot of holdbacks from this year's production. I haven't put up anything for sale, so if anyone does see anything that they really like and I might have done in a former video, you can reach out to me. That's usually how I sell most of my boas, just direct to people who said, hey, I love that boa in the video. How much? And that's usually how it goes. So if you like what you're seeing, you love these videos, you got any ideas, put them in the comments below. Show us the love also. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, hit that like button. I'll see you back tomorrow morning.